Have you ever found yourself in a pickle? Or, as the saying goes, have you ever felt like you were between a rock and a hard place? Maybe you've double booked yourself. You purchased movie tickets on the same day that your friend scheduled their birthday party. Or maybe you have conflicting values. Suppose you have $2,000 in the bank. You've signed a contract to pay $1,500 for rent every month to the landlord. You also have a child that you've promised would always be taken care of, and this month they have a serious medical emergency that requires $1,200 of care. Now, either you will not be able to keep your promise to care for the child, or you will not be able to keep your commitment to pay the rent. In today's story, Israel makes a promise to take care of what they thought was a distant country. But they also made a promise to God to clear the land. Now, Israel has to decide which commitment they are going to honor and which one to break. The solution angers the other kings in the area, and an epic battle begins. This is one of those battles where the Israelites were seriously outnumbered, but God shows up and fights for them in several ways. Remember how God brought the plagues and parted the Red Sea in Egypt in order to help the Israelites get free? Well, in today's story, God bends the laws of nature in similar, maybe even bigger ways in order to show his people that he is fighting for them. You'll have to read it for yourself in Joshua 10, or maybe you'll talk about it in your classes. But isn't that just the way God tends to work? You see, God wants us to trust him. And when we trust him, we find out that he's trustworthy. It's kind of like trust falls or roller coasters. You wonder, will my friend catch me or will I fall to the ground? Or will this ride hold up or will it crumble, leaving me injured? But if we trust, we find that we experience the thrill of the fall or the exhilaration of the ride. And we were safe all along. Now we know that rides occasionally break and friends sometimes let us down. However, you can be sure that God does not break, and God will not let his children down. Sure, there are experiences in life that seem to push this trust to the limit. When they happen, you should discuss these experiences and try to understand what God's purposes are. But in the end, God is always working for the good of his children. We can trust this. And since God is always working for our good, then he is worthy of our commitment. And I don't mean half-hearted lip service that follows God only when it's convenient. I mean committed to God, even when it's scary and difficult. Have you learned enough about God to say that you are ready to make a lifelong commitment to him? Have you experienced enough to say to God that you believe in him? This is not a choice to put off. If you haven't chosen to tell God that you will trust him with your life, then consider doing this today.